town of Quispamsis for October 28th. Item 2, can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please? Mark?
So move.
Brent?
Second.
Thank you. With that being, can we have a vote, please, on that? That motion's carried unanimously. With that being, move on to item 3, disclosures of interest. None being, move on to item 4, approval of previous minutes. Is there any amendment to the minutes? None being, can I have a motion to approve, please? Mr. Guest.
So moved.
Seconder, Brenda?
Second that.
Thank you. Can we have a vote on that, please? That motion's carried unanimously. With that, we'll move on to item 5, business arising from minutes. Can I have a motion to receive and file, please? Brent, thank you. Can I have a seconder on that? Mark Hatfield?
Second.
Thank you very much. With that being, can we have a vote on that, please? That motion's carried unanimously. With that being, move on to item 6, unfinished business. None being, we'll move on to item 7, new business. Before we get into the new business, I just want to mention to members of the audience and members online, if you're coming up to speak for or against this item, there's a cap of 10 minutes, and each person that speaks, you cannot speak about what someone previously spoke about. It has to be a new topic, because we had already heard the previous topic, what everyone spoke about. So it has to be something new and relevant to the topic. Just want to give everyone aware, because everyone's willing to speak. There'll be a timer if it goes up, and it's set off for 10 minutes. And please feel free to speak for or against, but and please follow the rules and let the person at the podium speak before the audience engages or members of the PAC engage, and we'll have a good process. So just want to give everyone update on that and how the rules apply, and we'll go from there. With that being, we'll move on to the first item, item 7A, 590 Hampton Road. Can the applicant please come up to the podium and state their name for the record, please?
Brandon Claycorn for Donmore Surveys. I believe Jamie's online as well.
Okay, perfect. And I think Dwight's on, but we're going to have Jennifer's going to introduce that topic for us. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to the committee members. Before you is a decision about a lot width and lot area variance for subdivision at 590 Hampton Road. The committee may remember that an application did come forward, I believe it was in the spring of this year, for the creation of 4 lots to allow development of 4 semi-detached buildings to be further subdivided. That was withdrawn. The applicant has since developed the lot at 590 Hampton Road with a semi-detached building. And now is asking to have it subdivided so that they can be along the common wall, so they can be sold as distinct ownership. What's required is a lot area variance. We actually received a revised tentative plan this afternoon, so I had to revise some of the numbers. There are 3 variances that are required to allow this tentative plan to be supported through the development officer process. The first one is 2 of the variances are lot frontage variances. The bylaw allows the development of a lot with a semi-detached on a lot area of 1,365 square meters and a lot frontage of 35 meters. If it is not for distinct ownership, meaning that the building could support 2 families on either side on a smaller lot, the 1365, I believe is the number. However, when you do subdivide along a common wall, subject to Section 8J of the zoning bylaw, it does require that the lot area and frontage meet the requirement of a single-family home, which is 30 meters and 1,140 square meters of area. One of the lots, Lot 1B, Lot 1A, which is 59 Sleepy Hollow Lane, so would be the very first unit coming from Hampton Road. It provides a lot frontage of 19.1 meters, so it does require a lot frontage variance of 10.9 meters. The original plan did identify that a lot area variance was required for this lot. However, they have been able to meet and exceed the requirements by providing 1,165 square meters. Lot 1B, which is Civic Address 57 Sleepy Hollow Lane, provides 14.8 meters of lot frontage, which would require a 15.2 meter lot frontage variance. And it also requires a 258 square meter lot area variance. And these are all from zoning bylaw number 38, table 3. The tentative plan that's been submitted does identify a local government services easement that is being, that will be installed for sewer infrastructure to support the development of all of the 8 semi-detached dwelling units along Sleepy Hollow Lane. The development permit was actually issued for the works earlier in October. The plan also identifies public utility easements, public utility easements, 5 meters along both street frontages. Land for public purpose is proposed to be satisfied through a monetary contribution to the town. Notification letters were sent to properties within 100 meters. At the time of the writing of this report, no letters of concern had been received. We did receive one email that asked a few questions about it, but there was no concern provided. Staff have no concerns with this application, and I am available to answer any questions the committee might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Mr. McEachern, Mr. Clanghorn, you would have received the same package we did in the mail. Is there anything you'd like to add or discuss prior to members of PAC or members of the public asking you questions? All right, thank you. With that being, any questions from members of PAC to the applicant? Mr. Preston?
My question isn't so much with regards to the applications before us tonight, but is this, as the lots further developed and more semi-detached buildings are built on that lot, are you gonna be able to address the lot size with the next 3 buildings? So that we don't have to have the variance on each building?
So, yeah. Like, it depends on, there's a couple things at play here. I don't know where we're at with the bylaw amendment, but this is to support that going into the future, if that makes any sense at all. I believe what's coming is, there's a hole in the bylaws at Quispamsis that doesn't allow for distinct ownership in this case, and this is basically moving in that direction. So if that comes forward, then we won't have to touch this anymore. Yep.
Thank you, Brent. Any, Jennifer?
I just wanted to add that there is a draft zoning bylaw in the works currently that staff are reviewing and working with the consultants to finalize and bring forward for approval. And there will be changes in that bylaw that I expect the rest of the development will probably fall under. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any further questions for the applicant or town staff from Mr. Brenda?
Quick one. So Jennifer, when this was as it is designed, you didn't need a variance on the frontage. It's when you decided to put it into units, you needed the variance. So if what you're planning for the bylaw was in place, how much of a variance would they need? What are we aiming for frontage on these units type of thing?
I can give you my personal opinion because nothing's been written in stone yet or been approved by council, but I would support allowing a semi-detached on a lot that has 1,365 square meters of land and would be allowed to be subdivided for distinct ownership. It's the only thing that's different is the distinct ownership.
Exactly.
And to further a point, actually, we were speaking about earlier at the meeting, rentals, there isn't that care of ownership that goes along with them often. Whereas these are very nice buildings that have been built and quite a lot of investment. And whoever's buying one of the semi-detached it's going to come at quite a price. And I don't expect that it's going to be, people that are respectful of the neighborhood and don't have pride in ownership. So I think that being distinct ownership actually improves things for the neighborhood as opposed to being rentals.
One more question for, so these two units, they're all going to have their own separate driveway, or they share a driveway? Jennifer said they're separate, so they would be very close together. I'm trying to visualize what the development would look like going down that street, because you want 6 more of these things. Or, yeah, 6. So you'd have driveway. It's such like very convoluted to me. But anyway, I have my reservations.
Thank you, Brenda. Any other members of PAC have any questions for the applicant? Dwight?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Dwight. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Through you to Planning Advisory Committee, a couple of comments on this one, and just based on some of the questions and conversation that's been had. One is that PAC is to consider the ask under the current zoning bylaw. What may be in the queue or what may be coming as bylaw amendments are relevant to this process because they are not been adopted by council. So this ask must be considered under the current bylaw provisions. The thing to note, which has already been mentioned by Jennifer, is the difference here is simply by ownership. So if you rent a building that has semi-detached, 2 units side by each, 1335 square meters. As soon as you want to own one of those, now you're into essentially 2,280 square meters. Just you have to meet the 1140. So it's sort of a ownership element that's what's driving the need for variances. There was also mentioned, I believe it might have been by Brendan, about a hole in the bylaw that doesn't allow for distinct ownership. I just want to clarify that and correct that, just for the record, to ensure that it doesn't be perceived or presented as though we're going against the bylaw. The bylaw, zoning bylaw, provides for distinct ownership of semi-detached units. The language exists in our bylaw. The discrepancy is around a table. So the table that summarizes the requirements does not reflect the language. So the language does exist. There isn't a hole in the bylaw. It's simply a table that summarizes the requirements. It is not reflective of the language that we're addressing currently. So it is there. And my final comment through you, Mr. Chair, is to Ms. Fowley regarding the driveways. So these are not driveways on top of driveways on top of driveways. These would be individual buildings, which are set back a minimum of 3 meters from the property line. So you have a 6-meter separation between the building plus the separation along the width of the building to the point of the driveway. So essentially more than half of the building, I would anticipate, would be the separation between the driveways. So even though they're common to each other, there is separation between them. So you're not going to get a full stretch of solid asphalt, if it will, for driveways. There is a separation, which we do currently have in our municipality. There are similar buildings with shared driveways. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Dwight, for clearing that up. Any further questions from PAC members to the town staff or the client? None being. Anyone in the audience or online willing to speak for or against this item? Is there anyone in the audience or online willing to speak for or against this item? Third and final time, is there anyone in the audience or online willing to speak for or against this item? None being, would a member of PAC like to put a motion for or against with terms and conditions? Mr. Hatfield.
I'll put a motion forward that the PAC support the development officer in approving the proposed subdivision along the common wall of the existing semi-detached building for the creation of 2 lots and approve the following variances from section 8C1 of the zoning bylaw number 038. A 13.4 meter frontage variance and a 130 square meter lot variance for lot 1, civic address 59 Sleepy Hollow Lane, and approve a 12.7 meter frontage variance and a 100 square meter lot area variance for lot 2, civic address 57 Sleepy Hollow Lane at 59 Hampton Road, PID 0249870, subject to the following terms and conditions. 1, a tentative plan created by a surveyor licensed to practice in New Brunswick that has identified all of the requirements of the subdivision bylaw 035, section 142, prior to the final assessment of council. And number 2, stormwater management plan and a service plan to be executed as per the drawing stamp released for construction by the engineering department. Development officer conditions for approval will also include the following 5. All local government services easements that are necessary for stormwater management and sanitary sewage services are to be on the final subdivision plan. Subdivision filing fees of $200 be submitted to the town prior to the stamped plan being released for registration for the service with Service New Brunswick. The tentative plan to be sent to public utilities supplying electrical power and telecommunication service for review and comments on the proposed public utility easement for the incorporation to the final subdivision plan. 4, the execution of a standard development agreement and associated costs and fees being the responsibility of the applicant. And 5, the development permit is issued by the town prior to the commence of any site work for the development of the subject lots.
Yes, I think Leanne's just noticed as well. You must have a previous staff memo.
Okay.
So everything, all of the conditions that were read are exactly correct. The only thing is that we'd have to change the variance amounts. So creation of 2 lots and approve the following variances to section 8C, a 10.9 meter frontage variance for lot 1A, civic address 59 Sleepy Hollow Lane, and a 15.2 meter lot frontage variance and a 258 square meter lot area variance for lot 2, civic address 57 Sleepy Hollow Lane. Thank you.
I'm fine with that.
Is it 590 Hampton Road or is it 59 Sleepy Hollow? Like, what's?
It's currently 590 Hampton Road. Once the subdivision occurs,
It's gonna become off Sleepy Hollow?
then they'll become Sleepy Hollow.
Okay, perfect. Brent, go ahead.
Second.
Thank you. Any debate on that motion and the amendments that Jennifer provided? All good? Can we have a vote on that, please? That motion's carried unanimously. 5 to 7 business days, you'll have your letter in the mail, so please work with the town to have all necessary documentation and in place, and best of luck. You're welcome. Yeah. Just like to remind everyone again, for there were some late arrivals, that for any item for people want to speak for or against, there's a time limit of 10 minutes, and what you're going to speak about has to be new relevant information above and beyond what the previous speaker has spoken about, so you can't reiterate the previous items that someone already previously spoke about. So just want to make sure, and please allow person at the podium to speak their time, and comments in the audience, we can address them at a later date, because we'll go with the applicant comes up, then they can sit down, people can speak for or against it, then the applicant comes back up again. So just want to reiterate that process for everyone. So with that being, we're going to move on to item 7B, 12 Reflection Lane. Could the applicant please come up to the podium and state their name for the record, please?
Hi, it's Chantel Miller.
Chantel what?
Miller.
Miller, okay. Chantel, we're gonna have Jennifer's gonna introduce that item for us. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to the committee members. What is before us is the approval of a home occupation at 12 Reflection Lane. The applicant is purchasing the building. I believe there's a sales agreement, yes, and has also provided us with an agent authorization form from the current landowner, allowing this file to proceed this evening for a PAC decision. Seems to be a lot of interest generated for a daycare for 5 children, so I was just a little surprised by that. However, it is an application for a home occupation, as the daycare use is actually permitted under our current bylaw. It is the home occupation aspect of the application that is discretionary and does require the approval of the committee. The provisions for the operation of the daycare are under Section 6L, but the ones for home occupations are under Section 6K2 of the zoning bylaw. And I've highlighted those, all of them, in the staff report. I will add that a variance for this application would be required. The bylaw does state in Section 6K2D that the floor area of the dwelling unit, which is devoted to the home occupation, does not exceed the lesser of 25% of the floor area of the dwelling unit, or 32 square meters. Did look at the building plans. It is less than 25% of the floor plan of the home. However, it is larger than the 32 square meters, and saying that, the applicant has indicated that they will be using 68.4 square meters of area within the home for the home occupation. So therefore, there would be required a 36.4 square meter variance from Section 6K2D by the committee to allow this to continue. Also, the bylaw requires that there be an area for all schools, daycare facilities, nurseries, and kindergartens, an outdoor play area that's fenced in, and staff are recommending that that be a condition of approval. Cover letter was provided by the applicant and explained the service that she's wanting to provide at this location. And we are also requesting that a copy of any provincial approvals to operate the daycare be provided to the town for our records. And to ensure that any conditions that may be applied through that process, we can also ensure that they're carried through. We did send notification letters or hand-delivered notification letters to properties within a 100-meter radius of the subject lot. We have received a number of concerns, 8 at the time of the writing of this report. There's a general concern regarding the lack of sidewalks in the area along Reflection Lane, and for the safety of the children, both the children of the residential neighborhood and the children that would be attending the daycare. There were concerns about increased traffic volumes and several references to increases in noise level impacting the quiet solitude of the neighborhood. One letter provided concerns that there may be an expansion of the number of children receiving care. We also received a letter regarding the amount of time that was provided to provide their concerns to us. So the letters ordinarily, under normal circumstances, we send out by Canada Post 2 weeks in advance. Well, Canada Post was not delivering letter mail at the time, so we did hand deliver. The notices were prepared, and we sent it out 2 weeks. Letters to arrive. Homeowners and the notices, you include the Friday where comments are expected. So staff feel to say that the community plan require that we send out notification. It says we may provide notification. So we actually, our PAC procedural bylaw says that we shall provide notification, and that is what we have done. The PAC procedural bylaw also says that we have to have an application at least 2 weeks and 1 day ahead, but it does not say anything about the amount of time provided for these concerns. I feel that we have provided enough. Staff have also, we don't feel the concerns for traffic. 5 cars we would not consider to be traffic on a local road that's has a 20-meter wide right-of-way and 7.5 meters of hard surface. And most local streets in Quispamsis and Reflection Lane is a local road. They are not supported by sidewalks. There's a large cost associated with sidewalks and putting them in and maintaining them. So most local streets do not have that. I think I've covered most everything in my staff report. I expect there will be questions, and I am available to answer those. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Ms. Miller, you would have received the same package we did in the mail. Anything you'd like to add or discuss prior to members of PAC having your questions? And I understand you have a presentation. Oh. Okay, can we cue that up there for? Okay.
And I'm here with my husband, Chris Brito, my 2 daughters, and some family support. I also have some current neighbors from our residential home that we live in now in Milledgeville. We have recently purchased a new family home on Reflection Lane. We're seeking approval to transfer my current small in-home daycare from my home in Milledgeville to the new residential home that we're buying at 12 Reflection Lane. I want to thank everybody for bringing their concerns forward. We take pride in being respectful and being a good neighbor, and I can assure you, hopefully, at the end of my presentation, we'll be able to alleviate some of those concerns. So I just want to let everybody know that this is a slide of our current home. We have a large corner lot in Milledgeville right now, and you can see from the photograph that there's no signage. It's a very well-kept lot, and it's a very family-friendly neighborhood that we reside in at this time. I also have neighbors that live directly across the street from us on all angles, supporting me here today, and a signed petition, like an endorsed letter from our neighbors as well. I want to point out the fact that some of the concerns mentioned noise and retire, like they want to retire and they don't want to hear an increased noise level in the neighborhood. But my neighbors that are here today are retired and they live right across the street from us. And Danny should be retired, I think, but he doesn't want to stop working. We have never in 10 years had a noise complaint while running my small in-home daycare. I typically take 4 children. Sometimes I have 5. I'm licensed for 5. And this is endorsed by neighbors. There was a concern about a desire or a potential application to increase the amount of kids that we have in our home. I have no desire to do so, and given the time constraints of this, I already have an agreement with the province of the New Brunswick, and I have an agreement with Her Majesty with my designation, because I am licensed with the province and I am designated. So, if that's not sufficient, it's impossible for me to increase my spaces because I'm a designated home. But I am willing to sign a contract with the PAC or with the town of Quispam to ensure that I will not ever increase and have no intention of increasing the amount of children that I care for at Reflection Lane. 11 years ago, I was pregnant with my 3rd daughter, and the business that I worked for had closed and moved to Moncton. So I finished my maternity leave. This is just a little bit about myself. I finished my maternity leave, and when I was going to enter the workforce, it was going to cost us over $2,000 a month for daycare. So my husband and I came to a decision that I would stay home with our 3 daughters, and I took a couple of friends' kids in, and I loved it. I loved taking care of children, and I licensed for 3 reasons. One was for safety. I wanted to ensure that the kids that I cared for and the kids in our community were safe, and I was abiding by, and I knew the laws, the regulations, the policies, and the procedures around safety and caring for kids in my home. I have a 4-year business degree, so I took that and I licensed my current home. I also did it for financial aid. I knew as a mom how much it cost to put children in daycare, and if I wasn't licensed or designated, I wouldn't be able to provide that benefit to the families that I care for now. And also for education. Because I licensed, I was able to get my early childhood education certificate and many certificates of accreditation over the past 10 years. So that's just a little bit about myself. I also want to ask the question, when you look at this photo and you see our home, you would never know. Would you know that there was a daycare there? I don't think you can tell that there's a daycare in this home. The next concern that was sent forth was regarding property value and investment, losing money on our investment, having a daycare next door. I think that that's a little bit subjective. I think it's more of an opinion versus a fact, but I brought some facts from our current neighborhood. These are 3 properties that have recently sold. One was an estate sale. There was a death in the family. One was a separation, and they sold their house. Those 2 houses, and you can see this neighborhood is very similar to Reflection Lane. We have the river in the back and the subdivision in the front. And the house is, you can see 349.9 listed and is sold well over asking at 406. The one to the left of me was listed at 334 and sold at 395. Sorry, I'm battling a cold as well. And I would like to also note that both of the families that have purchased those 2 homes in our neighborhood have requested childcare services from me. I think that's a valid, so if anything, it's been a positive impact on our community and the families in our community. The most impactful, I would say, is our own home. This is the home that has the daycare in it. We listed at $499, and we just received last week $640,000 for so we were well over asking price. I'm not a real estate agent, but I can say with my experience in the past 10 days, we sat down. This has been very quick moving for us. We sat down, we have a conversation, and most people will know when you ask a real estate agent, what do I list my house for? They'll offer you comparables, and they'll say, here's a stack of houses in your area that have sold. And we're investing into the community at Reflection Lane of $650,000. We're purchasing a home for close to $600,000. We're getting some amendments because we need a new roof. It needs new decks. We're going to fix up the driveway. So these are the only improvements that are going to, this is the only change to the house, is to better the property, to increase the value of the property. And if anything, I think if you're sitting down, you're my neighbor, and the houses in the area are anywhere from $298 to $350, and there was one at $409 in the past, 10 years. But now you have a house right next door to you that sold for $600, and we're putting more money into it to make it look better. So you have that to increase the value of your investment. So moving along to our new family residence, this is our family home. And I can't reiterate it enough, and I can't say it strongly enough. This is a small 4-child, sometimes 5-child home. This is a home and an investment for my husband and my children. And our children are going to attend Harry Miller, and our children are going to go to KVHS, and our children are going to be getting on and off the exact same buses as every other family and their children in that neighborhood. Safety is a concern for us as parents just as much as the people in the neighborhood that we're moving into. So I just reiterating that there will be no change to the existing property other than the home improvements and our family investment of $650. Lastly, and most importantly, I just wanted to talk about safety because there was some people sent in letters saying they're worried someone's going to turn around in their driveway or kids are going to get in and out of a vehicle on the street. My neighbors are here. My families are here. My daycare families are here to support the fact that safety has never been an issue, and that's why I'm licensed, to ensure that safety is not an issue. The bylaw states I have to have 2 parking spots. I have room for 7 in my own driveway. You can fit, and I want to also note that my husband's car and my vehicle can be deducted from the equation because my husband leaves for work at 6 o'clock in the morning. He's at the refinery. He's a safety investigator, in fact. So safety is number 1 on his list. I hear about it all the time. Anyway, sorry, babe. Anyway, so, and my vehicle is stationary. It doesn't move because the kids are coming to me. So out of the 4 cars that would be coming in and out of our new home, you can take 2. So there's an influx, if you would even call it an influx, of 2 vehicles. And everybody seems to be assuming that my hours of operation dictate what people do for a living. So I'm open from 7:45 until 4:45, but the families I care for don't work Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. This is not the reality of the situation. I have one mom that's on a maternity leave. She will be for the next year and a half because she's taking the full 18 months. She has a 4-week-old. She drops her daughter off around 9:45. She's not getting up first thing in the morning with a 4-week-old baby and rushing out through Quispam traffic to drop her daughter off to socialize, you know. And I have another mom here supporting me as well. She's on a medical leave and has been for quite some time. But when she returns to work, her shift is at 11 a.m. So there's no factor around school bus drop-off and school bus pickup. And one of my other families is here as well, and they have 2 children. So that's a sibling, a brother and a sister from the same family. So that's 2 kids that take 1 vehicle. He works 1 week on, 1 week off. So there's an entire week where he is not included in the equation. And on the weeks that he is, he comes well before any buses arrive. He would come at around 7:10, 7:15 in the morning. The buses don't arrive until 7:45, and it's a moot point. The pickup of the buses at the end of the day, it's not even relevant because my family's pickup at 4:45. That is an hour after kids are home and buses are long gone by then. I follow the Anglophone South School calendar, so I'm closed on professional development days because I do professional development. I'm closed on snow days, so if there's a snow hazard, nobody's coming or going because I close on all school closures: March break, Christmas break, summer holidays. So that's a good chunk of the year where there, isn't even any school buses coming and going. So I want to ask the question, when this family-friendly neighborhood with all these children and the safety is concerned, when these kids are outside shooting hoops and kicking balls and playing, is there a lot of noise complaints? I really don't think that my couple of kids in my home, if I wasn't being forthcoming and going about the proper channels, you would assume I was a stay-at-home mom with a couple kids coming over for a play date. There's been no noise in my routine, which my families who are here can vouch for. I'm very outdoorsy with my daycare kids. I take them on outings every day at 10 a.m. We get in my van, we go to the Qplex, we go to the trails, we go to Kinderfield, we attend the field house. We are outside all the time. We come back at lunch, a little after lunch. We wash up, we have our dinner, and we sleep. We sleep the 2-3 hours in the afternoon. 2 hours is what the kids sleep. Sorry. And if there's time, the children's outdoor playtime at my family home typically consists of 1 hour between 3:30 and 4:30 in the afternoon, if weather permits. Like if it's a nice day and all the kids have woken up from their nap and everybody is done eating, then we may go out into the fully fenced in, this is a safety that was requested by town as well, the backyard. You can see the arrow indicates there's a fully fenced in backyard at the new home, and I have a fully fenced in. We invested $8,700, I think, at our current residence in Milledgeville to have a fully fenced in backyard for the kids. So safety is a concern for us just as well as anybody else. Also, somebody noted that there was 3 other daycares in the area prepared to service. And I had brought documentation if anybody wants to see it. All of those daycares, I screenshot it. There's actually 5. And they're facilities. I am not the YMCA. I am not Origins. I am a tiny, quiet, calm, in-home daycare. And these facilities are 100% full. They don't, and Origins doesn't even hold a wait list anymore. And as of last year, you can look at the Department of Education report online, there was over 4,000 daycare kids waiting for spaces. So it's a needed profession. It's a needed, families need this, and families should be able to choose if they want to put their kids at a facility or at a smaller, more quiet atmosphere such as mine. In conclusion, the last slide is just the floor plan. You know, the house is what it is, the variance for the floor space. There's just a family room downstairs. It's a little bit larger than what the bylaw says you can have, I guess, if I'm understanding that correctly. You know, we don't want to do anything. We just want to provide the space for the kids. And I hope when my husband and I went for, you know, he's seen this house for sale last summer, and it sat on the market and it didn't sell. And then it came up again a couple of weeks ago, and he said, let's go for a drive. We got a coffee. And he said he's never taken me for a coffee again because we ended up buying a house. So, but we were there and we were driving through the neighborhood, and what I seen was a beautiful neighborhood full of kids and people, moms with strollers, people walking their dogs, basketball nets, hockey nets, bicycles. There were several other driveways that had 3 or 4 cars of their own, because I'm sure there's teenagers that have their own vehicles that would well exceed what I would ever have. And I just hope that the community would accept us because I think that we can provide a positive network. And going forward, as my kids now age out, the children in the neighborhood that live there already and the moms who I seen with those strollers are the ones that are going to benefit from me being there. And those are the people who will be driving on those roads. There'll be no influx or increase in traffic because the community members that will be using my service are the very community members that live there now and already use those roads.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Sorry,
thank you
I
very
know.
much.
I know, 15 minutes probably.
All right. With that being, you might as well stay up here, might be some questions. With that being, any questions from members of PAC to the applicant? Kendall?
Other than the 4 drop-offs and the 4 pickups, is there any deliveries, or?
No.
I guess I'm just trying to understand the traffic question.
No, I actually canceled my Prime because I buy myself too much online.
That's big out here, Amazon.
Not lying.
All right, perfect. The other question I had is, at your current location, has there been any noise complaints registered, like with the city, or
Never.
any traffic complaints that you're aware of, or? Nothing,
Never.
Nothing registered with the city? So
Nothing registered, nothing ever brought to my
how
attention.
would it be different here versus there?
It wouldn't. There'd be no difference. It's a similar setup, it's a similar neighborhood, and it's the same kids that I've had for the last 3 years. Then actually, it says a lot, I think, and it makes me very proud that the families that I have now are wanting to move with me because they want their kids to stay in my care. And they know that the children are safe, and safety is a priority for me.
Perfect. Thanks for answering.
Thank you.
Just a couple of quick questions. You talked about taking your children out to the Qplex and things like that. Do you have a van that you can
I
transport
do. I have a
them?
licensed and insured 8-passenger Honda Odyssey.
Sorry, what?
A licensed or it's a insured 8-passenger
Okay.
Honda Odyssey.
Okay. And the kids, like, 4 to 5 years old, they could be in kindergarten. How do you do that? Do you deliver them, or their parents do?
I don't take school-age children. I only take under the age of 5. So no children that attend school come.
5-year-old could be in kindergarten.
But if they're in school, they're considered a school-age child by the province of New Brunswick. So I am actually I only take full-time under the age of 5. So I have one little girl that's 4 right now,
Yeah.
and she will attend kindergarten in September, and her services with me will end at that time.
Oh, okay, so you never have to worry about the kids going to kindergarten and trying to
No,
get buses.
No. And
the-
for the reason, because I take small kids, they're usually napping, so I choose not to accommodate after-school kids.
Yeah.
That would be that larger group of children that
Oh,
are school
okay.
age, and you can't mix them.
That explains a lot, so
Thank you.
I'll get you some Tylenol.
I think I have some in my purse.
Any further questions for the applicant from members of PAC? Okay. Anyone in the audience willing to speak for or against this item? Doesn't matter. We'll just, whoever comes up can come up. So please come up one at a time, state your name for the record, and we'll record. You can have a seat, then we'll. And just remember the previous rules that we laid out, please. Thank you. I'll start the timer. Can please state your name for the record, please.
My name is Greg Gormley, and this is my wife, Linda.
Okay.
We live at 78 Crown Hill Crescent, which is directly across from the Burritos and the Little Leaders Daycare. We've lived in that neighborhood for 30 years. We're both retired. We have no children, so we don't intend to sell our house anytime soon either. So we're here tonight to do more of a formal vetting, I guess, of Chantal's plan and what we came across in the different aspects of this application. So I'll just read a few points here in order to keep within the 10 minutes. So again, Greg Gormley, Linda Glant, we are neighbors directly across the street for 5 years. 30-year residents of Crown Hill Crescent, no intent to move. We are retired, again, no children. So we felt it necessary, if we were going to speak at the PAC agenda, that on the item of the Little Leaders Daycare at 12 Reflection Lane, we felt it was imperative to do our due diligence and to fully understand the situation because we're not residents of the area. So we took the opportunity to read and understand the relevant bylaws of the town of Quispamsis, read the comments on social media, read the letters of concern from residents, understand the provincial laws and regulations governing daycare operations, plus we visited Reflection Lane to appreciate the area and the location in question. So we have, of course, objective thoughts, we have subjective thoughts. So objectively, based on the information above and living 5+ years directly across from Little Leaders, we cannot see any reason the operation of this in-home daycare should not be approved. Chantal has laid out, as you have seen, a plan that fully addresses the requirements of the town, plus the concerns of the residents. We feel the term daycare itself encompasses many, many definitions. Little Leaders is not a commercial operation with signage, traffic, staff, and a large number of children. Rather, we consider it, from our experience, day-to-day basis for 5 years, to be more like a family home with a working dad, a stay-at-home mom, with children both of age of preschool and school age. Subjectively is a different story. We are sad they're leaving our neighborhood, and that's a massive understatement. The Burritos are an active, kind family, and without a doubt, can be viewed as a welcome addition to the community of Reflection Lane. Your gain is our loss. And I'll say that again, your gain is our loss. Those close by on Chantal's waiting list will be disappointed with her departure, as we have 2 families with newborns in our neighborhood who have expressed interest in her daycare services. So in closing, having Little Leaders as part of our community has in no way caused 1 minute of concern, be it traffic, noise, safety, or decline in property values. So Mr. Chairman and committee members, thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. That being, anyone else want to come up and speak? Please come on up, come on forward. Yes, please. State your name for the record.
Good evening.
Can you state your name for the record?
Joanne Neal.
Joanne Neal, okay, thank you.
My name is Joanne Neal, and I live directly beside 12 Reflection Lane. I've already sent in my letter expressing my concerns regarding the proposed variance application for a daycare operation at the home next to mine. Tonight, I'd like to share some of the concerns as raised in my letter. To begin, I would like to raise some safety concerns. Reflection Lane is a quiet lane with no sidewalks and very limited road width. Introducing multiple daily drop-offs and pickups for daycare would bring noticeable increase in traffic and vehicle movement, especially during busy morning and afternoon hours. In the winter, snowbanks will make the streets somewhat narrower, which will create congestion, visibility issues, and genuine safety concerns for pedestrians and children. But beyond traffic and safety, I would like to point out the impact this will have on the character of our lane. The proposed daycare would change the quiet residential character of Reflection Lane with the frequent vehicle arrivals as well as the noise that would be typical to outdoor daycare play. When we moved there 10 years ago, we specifically chose this neighborhood because it was peaceful. Many neighbors work shift work, others work from home, and the quiet nature of this lane makes this possible with little to no disruptions, and I feel this would change. There is also the financial concern. The financial concern will be the impact on our property values. Having a daycare immediately next door will narrow the pool of potential buyers for my home in the future, especially the potential buyers specifically seeking quiet surroundings as we were. This limited buyer interest will directly translate into a lower resale value, reducing the return on what is, for most of us, our single largest investment. I personally would not have purchased my home if there was a daycare next door, and in fact, I would not have bothered to even view it. I respectfully ask the committee to deny the daycare application for 12 Reflection, and I do thank you all for taking the time to listen to my concerns this evening.
Thank you. Anyone else willing to speak for, please come up, state your name for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Gardner. I'm not as well prepared as everyone else. I wasn't anticipating on feeling the need to speak. I am one of the parents whose child is at Chantel's daycare. I live in town. My whole family is in Quispam. They live a road across, just a subdivision over from where Chantel will be planning on moving. I could not think of Quispamsis as more of a family-friendly area. I absolutely appreciate the concerns of others as far as the noise and the comings and goings of vehicles. However, if someone is a shift worker, they are coming and going at different times than what a typical 9-to-5 worker is. I drop my daughter off at 9:45 to 10 o'clock in the morning. I do not see any of the other parents. I don't interact with them because they are long gone by the time that I get there. We don't cross paths because they all have very different lives, and that is not proven to be a concern. I don't know what I would do without Chantel's daycare because I didn't feel comfortable putting my child in a big daycare facility. You hear about horror stories about what happens there, and as someone whose family works in them, you know that they're not properly run. Chantel's daycare has been a godsend for my family and I, and my daughter thrives with her. I find it interesting that someone in an area surrounded by other daycare facilities and other families would express such concern over noise and traffic, but again, I'm not as prepared, so I can't fully go into that, but I just wanted to stand here and vouch for them and say, as someone who is, the coming and going vehicle, it's not proven to be a concern. There's only ever one vehicle in the driveway when I get there, and that vehicle is still there in the evening and the afternoon when I pick up my daughter, and that is that's where the traffic concerns stop. So thank you for hearing me, Mr. Chairman and committee. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other applicants? Oh, please come on up, state your name for the record, please.
Hi, good evening. Jacob Pierce.
Jacob
Pierce.
Jacob Pierce.
P-I-E-R-C-E. Thank you, Chairman Lalonde and members of the PAC. I'm a resident at 98 Robin Hood Lane. I'm not in the 100-meter radius, but I will be character reference for the family. We know them through sports. Our children are friends. I just wanted to come just because our family went through this. My wife has a clinic in our home out at 98 Robin Hood Lane, and I'm just providing commentary on my thoughts that these are the types of developments and projects that you want to see in a community to diversify and to give people walkability. My wife's an osteopathic practitioner, and many of her clients are in the community and they walk to their appointments. And you know, we have more traffic, you know, than this would generate, and this is fixed. You know when it's going to happen, and for us, it's variable, right? So, just wanted to say that, you know, as a member of that, the viewpoint that it's you know, going to impact the property value. I don't know if it really holds water, because I think people want to move into a community that has those options that are close by: hairdresser, daycare, osteopathic, acupuncturist, and massage therapist that you could walk to. So good on you for, you know, allowing these things and being progressive. And yeah, just wanted to support our friends. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the audience will please come up and state your name for the record, please.
Hi, my name's Dan Joyce, and I live diagonally across the street from the daycare. I'm here only to try and help assure the new neighbors of their traffic concerns, their noise concerns, and their property value concerns. I understand them all, and I think probably everybody kind of says, oh no, there's the daycare moving in across the street or right beside me. I leave for work early in the morning. I come home a little after supper. I work kind of long hours because I like working. But anyways, a couple of years ago, I had some health issues. And I couldn't drive. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. But I could sit on my front swing on my lawn and drink coffee, which I would start at about 7 in the morning. And I'd be there the whole day sitting there. And I can 100% assure you, there is no noise, zero noise. There is no traffic. The odd one car now, another car in an hour. That's it for that. And as far as a property value, these people keep their home impeccable. The lawn is mowed perfectly. The trees are trimmed perfectly. The house is kept perfect. And I don't know how they do it, but it is embarrassing at times when I look at it and think, how do you keep that so nice and they're going all the time? But anyways, it's just more for the people here to understand that they are gaining a great neighbor, and there will be no noise, and there will be no ruckus, and there will be no traffic congestion. And I think you'll be more than happy once they do move in if this is approved, and I think you should really seriously look at it. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Joyce.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else in the audience, please come up. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Wendell Munn?
Wendell Munn?
Yes.
M-U-N-N?
Yes.
Okay, Wendell, go ahead.
I live at 20 Reflection, so just two houses. My backyard looks across at their backyard. Looking around the neighbors and looking through the package that was sent to us, or I seen online last night regarding the meeting and the letters that the PAC received, I see 6 neighbors that were not as keen on a daycare and one that did not have a problem. So I see a lot of neighbors that do have concerns versus the one. For me, and it was outlined in my letter, you know, I'm getting close to that period where getting old enough that I should be able to retire. One of the things I think about retirement is I'm an outdoorsy guy and I'm going to spend a lot of time outside. So for me, peace and quiet is, at that point, probably one of the things I'm going to look for. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting awfully close. Just one second here. I made some notes and now I'm trying to read them myself. I think it's, for me, it's up to the PAC committee to determine what will fit in that neighborhood and what won't within the regulations that are set there. So that part's for you, but part of that is also giving us as neighbors the opportunity to let you guys know what we think and what our neighborhood should be like. So I appreciate the opportunity to give you guys that feedback, and hopefully it does have an impact in the final decision with PAC. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Munn. Anyone else in the audience willing to speak for or against this item?
Hi, my name is Kimberly Benoit, and
Kimberly Benoit?
Benoit, yes.
Okay.
I'm an owner-operator of a home daycare in St. John, and I met Chantal during some professional development classes. My first impression of her was, wow, I need to meet that girl. She's got so much positivity, and just the way she spoke, she shined a light on our profession, and I'm in her presence often. So one of her stops is my home. I have a home in St. John East Side. I've got a fenced-in yard, and we get our kids together and we just plan activities. We go for walks in our neighborhood, and we see nothing but positivity. Just walking, I love seeing people drive by and the smiles on their faces when they see all the children. Chantal's fantastic with the kids, and she's got such a gentle way with them. I look up to her. She's got more patience than I do, honestly. And everybody thrives just being around her. She's got such a positive outlook. I guess when I think of Quispamsis, I think of growth. I think of families. I can totally understand, you know, the new neighbors just worried about, you know, an in-home daycare coming and children and the noise. But I guess when I think of like a subdivision, I think of families, and my number one thing is children. Like that's our, you know, our future. And occasionally children can be a bit, you know, noisy at times. But when I think of Quispam, I think of growth. We can't grow without children. And how great is it just to have, you know, a facility right in your neighborhood where you can take your child to and just walk across the street and drop off your child. Like, I just think it's a bonus. If I was moving to Quispamsis subdivision, I'd be thinking, you know, that's somewhere what I would want to go. And if I'm thinking I want peace and quiet, I think that's when you have to think about, well, maybe I should be living somewhere different. Maybe I shouldn't be in a subdivision, you know, it's full of families. So I just like for you to consider allowing this family to move in. I mean, they're fantastic people. I've been in their home. It's absolutely stunning. Beautiful home. It's hard to believe that there's children playing in there, honestly, because it's so clean. They keep up with it. Her husband's out there, fanatical over his lawn. Yes, so please consider accepting them in your community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the audience? Please come up and state your name for the record, please.
Good evening, Chris Neal. I live at Chris Neal. Yeah. I live directly beside the proposed daycare at 12 Reflection Lane. I'm concerned about the approval of both, one, the home occupation, and two, the variance that would change the existing rules for this R1 zone property. When I bought the home 10 years ago, I chose this area specifically because it was zoned R1 and it was surrounded by single-family homes. I wanted a quiet neighborhood, and if I had known a daycare would be established next door, I wouldn't have purchased the property. I work shift work and I already struggle to sleep during the day. The noise from a daycare will make daytime rest impossible. Couldn't make rest impossible, sorry. The town planner dismissed noise concerns by referring to the noise bylaw, but I disagree. A daycare creates far more daily noise than a typical residence. And finally, doubling the maximum allowable floor area for a home occupation seems excessive, especially for an operation that's limited to 5 children. Allowing 737 square feet does not align with the intent of the R1 zone. And according to the drawing that was presented tonight, I think the basement was 340 square feet for that common area. And for these reasons, I ask the committee not to approve this variance, and thank you for your time and consideration. And I'd like to say, Corey and Chantel.
It's Chris.
Chris?
We don't know who Corey is. He was
Okay.
someone that was involved in the social media post against, that he put a post, when the letters went out, somebody went on Facebook in the community and put a post that the entire home was being converted into a daycare facility, so it's extremely misleading.
Okay, you can give us that update after, Chantal, when you come back, so,
Okay, anyway, I'd just like to say, if you guys do move in, I do welcome you to the neighborhood, but I do oppose your daycare. So you seem like a lovely couple and you have lots of friends here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Third and final time, anyone in the audience or online willing to speak for or against this item? None being, Chantal, could you please come up to the podium, please? And maybe you can clarify that comment that was this.
Yeah, when the application went out to the residents in the neighborhood, somebody from the community had gone onto Facebook. I don't typically frequent Facebook. I'm not a big social media person, but a friend of mine had highlighted to me that there had been a post put out and there was a statement that made it seem that I was going to be converting the entire property into a mess. Like, it just said, I want to make sure everybody in the community had received the notification that the house at 12 Reflection Lane was to be repurposed as a daycare facility. So of course, social media blew up and everybody was under the assumption that this was going to be a massive venture, and it was just me and 4 kids. I wanted to make a note to Mr. Munn. He seems that there's more. I had several letters come into me in support, and I went to back to that community network of Rossi, and there was 157 comments and thumbs up in my favor. I just wanted to throw that out there as new information. But yeah, Corey Miller is one of the persons. I have no idea who he is. I'm not related, but people went and assumed that I was related to him or that he was my husband, as you've seen from that comment, because he has the same last name as me, but I have no idea. And he was a bit ill-mannered. He had made a couple of comments that were a bit not polite, just that, real estate, you should know the market, remind me not to use you as a real estate agent, just some very negative comments, but I don't know who that person is, and I have no affiliation with that person.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else you'd like to give you last rebuttal here? Anything about all the comments? Anything you'd like to say? Give you a couple minutes before we.
Just that we love the community, and I feel that if given the opportunity to bring the couple of kids into my home, that the members of the community will find, just as the members of the past 10 years that I've been operating have stated, that there is no noise and that there is no traffic influx and there's no safety concerns for my children.
Thank you very much. Any members of PAC have any final comments before we ask for a motion for or against? Anyone? Jennifer, anything?
I didn't, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, the committee members, I didn't iterate this earlier, but the concerns about noise, there is a noise bylaw that is available, that's enforced by the police department here in Quispamsis, and should any neighbor, if it is approved, and should any neighbor find that there is noise that's being generated, they could certainly contact the police department and to enforce the bylaw. That's it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Would any members of, a member of PAC like to put a motion for or against with terms and conditions? Mr. Preston.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that PAC approve a home occupation, that of a daycare providing services to a maximum of 5 children, and approve a 36.4 square meter floor area variance from section 6K2D of zoning bylaw number 038 to allow the home occupation with a gross floor area of 68.4 square meters at 12 Reflection Lane, PID 302181168, subject to the following terms and conditions. The number of children receiving daycare services is limited to 5. Any increase to the number of children must be approved by PAC. 2 parking stalls should be provided on site to be used exclusively for the daycare use during hours of operation. There should be no on-street parking. Outside recreational space being adequately safe and consistent in size with the number of children attending the daycare should be provided to the satisfaction of the development officer or their delegate. The applicant must comply with all provincial regulations and conditions as may be set by the authority having jurisdiction. A copy of provincial approvals to operate the daycare shall be submitted to the town, and home occupation daycare shall apply with all provisions of zoning bylaw 038, section 6L1 and 6K2, and all other applicable zoning bylaw provisions.
Thank you, Mr. Preston. Can I have a seconder on that? Mark?
Mr. Chairman, I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Goslin. Any further debate in that motion? Jennifer, you need anything? No, okay, thank you. Any further debate? Can PAC members have a vote, please? That motion is carried unanimously. In 5 to 7 business days, you have your letter in the mail with approval. Please work with the town, have necessary documentation and paperwork all in place, and best of luck. And I hope the neighbors get to enjoy the neighborhood beside you and realize what's happening beside you. So, and any issues that arise, they have a right to complain, talk to the town. So, thank you very much.
Welcome, Quispamsis.
Yes. With that being, we're going to move on to item 8, information and items for discussion. None being, we're going to move on to item 9. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Mr. Preston, seconder, Brenda?
I would do that, but we didn't receive and file that.
There's nothing in there.
Then I will second that.
Thank you. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.